Welcome to this Slammasters Brit Wres special. Slammasters Wrestling has been a staple in Welsh wrestling since 2019. We are joined by the promoter and owner of Slammaster, wrestler turned promoter, John. Slammasters provide a great family-friendly show with in-ring action for all ages and host such stars as Joel Redman, Elijah, Man Like Doris, Mariah May, Chantel Jordan. Coming soon, Doug Williams. Welcome to the show, John.
Hello, thank you for having me. Hope you're both okay.
Very well.
Good.
All good.
Excellent. We are very glad to have you on. We haven't had anyone to discuss Welsh wrestling on yet, so this is a first for us. There we go.
Hey.
We cover all Brit Wres. We are, of course, Tea and Tights, a Great British Wrestling podcast for Great British Wrestling, as featured on BodySlams.net, brought to you by Powerful TV. I'm your host, the Great British Jackie, Mr. Andrew Moore. Andy Tomos, joined as always by Big Daddy Daniel Allen. Just Dan for short. I didn't fluff it this time.
You got it all right. I'm impressed. It is good to be here, and it's always great to chat with promoters because you get to see a different side of the business. So I'm really looking forward to our chat today, John.
Hopefully I won't disappoint.
I'm sure you won't. We've been chatting off screen and we've been talking about what we're going to go for. We'll start with, obviously, you set up Slammasters Wrestling in 2019. What was the sort of like reasoning behind that? Because you were a wrestler and you took a break and then you decided to start your own.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a long-winded tale, but in short, in 2019, the Welsh wrestling scene was quite fractured in many ways, probably pretty similar to other areas. There was a lot of dissent in various locker rooms at the time. If you worked one promotion, you couldn't work another promotion. If you were aligned with this training school, you couldn't speak to someone from this training school, and so forth. So me and David Haig, who wrestles as Big D, we were on a show together, and we were just looking around what was going on, and it was a fairly off the cuff remark of, I reckon we could run a show, and the response was, yeah, we probably could. So a few days later, then we got talking a bit more seriously about it, and we wanted to create like maybe a one-off safe haven of guys from different training schools in South Wales, just to try and unite people and almost remind people that turning up on show day doesn't have to be a chore or anything like that, and just to create something that people would enjoy and hopefully make new contacts and maybe bring some people back into the fold who've lost their way a little bit or have had some disagreement with a promoter here, and all of a sudden they're not getting booked anywhere because that was the kind of thing that was going on. So we thought we'll just do it. We'll get together. We'll welcome anyone who wants to be involved, and we'll see how it goes. It was as simple as that. I suppose I was probably a little bit inspired by what was going on at the time as well with All In, obviously in a much smaller scale for Slammasters. But it was good to see that if you weren't happy with how things were, that there is a different option around, and perhaps you can do something. You can do something yourself, and it could work. So yeah, I was really pleased that we went for it.
There are a lot of companies in Wales, aren't there?
There are. There are so many. In 2019, there was a lot less than there is now. I believe off the top of my head, there was probably like 4 or 5 like active at the time. But yeah, it's doubled plus more now. It's incredibly busy. Great if you're a fan, because you can just go to the end of your street and there's probably a show on. But from the other side of it, it can cause a few headaches.
And now, of course, you, as we mentioned, you are a wrestler turned promoter. So you had contacts from your old training days. Yep. With Dragon Gate Pro and Knockout Wrestling. So was it really sort of like bringing those guys together that kind of started it all?
Yeah, pretty much. So on the first show, it was predominantly guys that we knew from training at Knockout. Then there was some guys that we'd met on shows around the area, and then 1 or 2 then that I'd met at Dragon Pro that I probably lost a little bit of contact with, but as soon as they messaged to say, I do you remember me from training? I'm interested in being on the show. Are there any spots? And the answer was, of course there are. Like please come. You're more than welcome. And it was something that was really good because at the time, especially the Dragon Pro guys, they'd, for whatever reason, had become a little bit isolated, and a lot of were only working Dragon Pro shows, whereas historically they'd been a bit more out there. So it was good to get that relationship with Dragon Pro going again. I don't know why at the time they weren't going out some places. Maybe they'd had a bad experience or something. So that was really good that we managed to get guys from Knockout and guys from Dragon Pro together at that time, and the show had a good response as well. We had about 70 people in, which doesn't sound like a lot of people, but in the summer of 2019 for shows in Wales, crowds of 50, maybe less, on a lot of promotions that were on was normal. So we were really pleased that we did well. The show broke even, which was better than we could have expected, really. I think we may have incurred some costs that we probably didn't want to be paying, but we didn't know what we were doing. So things like paying extra for this and that and the other things we learned pretty quickly. But we broke even, and we got people together, and we created a little bit of buzz as well, I think, among the guys who were on the show, because we had messages not long after the show from people who weren't on it as well, asking if we were going to do another one because they'd be interested in appearing on it. So that was a good sign as well.
Of course, they're now New Wave Wrestling under Brendan White. Good old Brendan White, the big Welsh bear, as we like to refer to him. So you're hoping to keep that relationship going with?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So we actually had Brendan on. We did a small show a couple of weeks back, and we had Brendan on the show. He's really good friends with one of the boys that we have on shows regularly. He was on the show, and I'd love to keep that relationship going. So when he's got people that ready, I'm sure we can give them opportunities.
He's certainly a get to have on your show. Obviously, work in progress, Rev Pro UK, tag team partners with a guy who's on NXT UK, and Danny Jones. Some fantastic talent down there. As I say, the growth, it went from 70 to 250. What do you think was the catalyst behind just a nice steady growth rather than a boom growth?
Yeah, so we went from 70 to then the second show was about 110. We had Big Grizz on that give us a bit more, give us more name value for that one, and likewise the audience from the first show was retained and we built on it. We did have a big gap then because we were due to have a show in March of 2020, and just before the weekend that the show was due to be on, lockdown happened. I was kind of glad the lockdown did happen at that point, because running the show wasn't the best idea at the time, because I know Attack ran I think they ran the weekend before, and I know they had quite a bit of negative comments and things for doing so. But likewise, there was a big concert in the Cardiff as well that weekend, so it wasn't just them. We had the big gap. We came back then. We had about a crowd of 150 or so. We had a few bigger names on that one. We had Chuck Mambo was on that show, and Man Like Therese. And then we just seemed to have grown audience each show. I think it's a combination of us getting better at promoting. I like to think that the name is getting out a little bit more in the area, and we are getting a lot of return people as well. So it's got to be word of mouth. Like, I think we know what we're trying to do. We know who our target audience is, and we do cater to them quite well, and I think it's reflecting in the crowd numbers that we're getting at the moment.
And guys like Joel Redman have got to be part of the reason behind that. Such a huge star, former NXT, the first ever NXT tag team champion, somebody who I cannot understand is not, on every show as the biggest star on every show, because he's so bloody good at wrestling.
Agreed. Yeah, he's unbelievable. I had him lined up for 2020, not on the March show that's cancelled, but for later in the year. And I was amazed he even responded to my message at the time. But yeah, he's incredible. He should be. I don't get why he's not signed to NXT. Why he's not a regular on your Progresses and your Rev Pros. He's got to be one of the best in the country, without a doubt.
I was at a show that he was at, EWA, on Saturday, and that was his 4th show of the day. He had a busy one. But what's amazing with Joel is if he chooses to be heel, which he is at EWA, the kids hated him. Absolutely. He had a crowd of 20 children chasing him around, shouting at him.
Yes, very different to the Halloween match that I saw. I can't remember who he was facing your champion, and the crowd absolutely loved him, especially the children.
Yeah. He's the perfect pro, isn't he? He can do whatever's needed. He's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Now, of course, COVID did happen. How did the break affect things? And what's it been like kind of post-COVID?
Yeah, so it affected things in the sense that I booked up 3 or maybe 4 shows for 2020, and none of them took place. We were essentially frozen in a way because we had like no content or anything to post. I know some promotions went and dug into their video archive. We didn't have anything. Likewise, we didn't run any closed door shows or anything like that. So we were just frozen. Since COVID, I think more people have been happier to buy tickets in advance, which has been a massive help. I think that is something that has come in because people become used to having to reserve things. Like even if you want to go out for a bit of food, all of a sudden you have to book your table and stuff. And I think that filtered down to entertainment as well. So part of me thinks that the days of selling out pre-sale for a lot of places is probably going to decrease because people are going to be more used to just popping out again. But yeah, since COVID, I think we've just grown from strength to strength. More people know about us now, and likewise, I think we're doing a better job of getting our name out there that we probably were doing beforehand as well. So in a way, COVID was good to us in the sense that we got to figure out who we were and what we wanted to do when we could come back a lot more than perhaps throw in a load of names on the show that wanted to be on the show. So it was good for that bit of downtime. And likewise, with all that time in between, we could order some championship belts as well because they were taking about 4 months to come back at the time. So a year off isn't a bad thing there.
Let's talk about your women's champion, Mariah May. She's amazing. And obviously ITV2 TV star, American star now. I believe she won a belt while she was over traveling in the States.
Probably.
I just saw her match against Chantel Jordan that you posted on YouTube very recently. Go check that match out. It is fantastic. Both of these performers are just so good.
They are. Yeah. So I'd been, Mariah was actually booked for that March 2020 show that didn't happen. And yeah, I got in touch with her probably the tail end of 2019 or so. And I was really pleased that our calendars aligned to get her back in October of last year. I really wanted to have women's championships. I got a now 6-year-old daughter who's wrestling mad and absolutely loves it when there's women's matches on. So that's something I really want to have on Slammaster shows. I want it to say on a 6-match card. I don't see why we couldn't get to a point where we're having say 2 or 3 women's matches on there. And to me, there was only one person that was going to get the belt by choice, really, and that's Mariah. She's incredible in the ring. She can. We've got her as a heel, but she was getting a bit of a face reaction on the last show, which suggests that maybe in different venues we could turn it around a little bit. And yeah, she's got a brilliant following. She's incredible with the promotion side of things. She's destined to be a star, and yeah, she can be with Slammasters and until she gets signed somewhere, basically, until she's not able to be on our shows anymore.
You've got a fantastic talent pool down there for a women's division. You've had girls like Echo Reed, who's going to be on the show very soon. She was due to be on. We're very much looking forward to speaking to Echo Reed, Aurora, LA Taylor.
We've had Chantel on.
Yeah, Chantel's just amazing. Just so many fantastic women in the sort of southeast pocket of England and southwest and that Welsh region. Just got a lot of talent there.
Yeah, and likewise, we're not afraid to go further afield as well. We had Jade booked for 2020. Obviously now she's injured, so we unfortunately won't be able to have her on for a little while. And yeah, I'd love to get more talent as well from further. Just a name call a few out. People like Lizzie Evo as an example would be incredible to have someone like her on the show. Likewise,
it's Eliza Alexander now.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, I don't know what her non WWE booking names would look like if they are still allowed. But yeah, or likewise, somebody like if we could make it work, someone like a Giselle Shaw, if she was available, that would be great to have her on. And likewise, when Zoe Lucas comes back, it'd be great to have the Dream Dolls on as well.
Oh, very much so.
Definitely.
They were such a great tag team together. And Giselle Shaw, of course, she loves Wales because she was staying with the brothers Orr for quite a while she was in the UK. So I know she's a big fan of the Welsh countryside. But let's talk about Welsh wrestling. Let's talk about, now normally we do Mount Rushton, but we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to let you carve 4 fantastic Welsh wrestlers into Mount Snowdon. Who do you pick?
Okay, well, I wish I'd had a bit more time to prep this, but I'm going to go with Adrian Street. You've got to go with Adrian Street. There's no denying that. And unfortunately, I didn't really see a huge amount of him. I think when I was getting into it, he was winding down a little bit, at least from the mainstream at that time. There's no doubt though the impact that he had, and I thought the documentary about him was incredible, and you could tell by who was on it how well everyone respects him and thinks of him. So he's definitely on it. Mark Andrews as well. Obviously he won TNA British Boot Camp. He's had success in TNA and Impact. Likewise, NXT UK. So the Mark Andrews is an inspiration to a generation of Welsh wrestlers. There's no denying that. Nixon Newell needs to be on there as well. As a female wrestler, get into America. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It's a shame things didn't work out perhaps the way they could have for her in WWE. But there's plenty of other companies in America, and maybe she'll land on her feet in AEW or somewhere like that. But yeah, she's done incredibly well. I was struggling with a 4th one, so I'm going to go with the controversial answer here, and I'm going to say Mason Ryan. And people will probably throw things at me, but he was a Welsh wrestler who got to the top company, and he was in the top faction at the time alongside CM Punk. So for that, Mason Ryan, I'm going to include him as well.
Fair
He's
play.
a big boy. No, fair play. Yeah, he does deserve it. Anyone, as you say, you make that mountaintop of WWE, you become an inspiration to many because young Welshmen would have been able to look at that and go, "Oh, if he did it, I can do it." The same way young English lads would have looked at British Bulldog and gone, "Oh, if he can do it, I can do it." And many did.
Like I'm sure in my fandom years, he was the first Welsh guy in WWE. Like, unless I've missed someone, I'm pretty sure he was the first one. So I know Rob Terry's probably unlucky not to have been made the list as well, because obviously he was very successful in Impact. He'd won a few belts and things as well. But yeah, Mason Ryan going ahead of him just because he was tagging with Punk.
I always thought Rob Terry was criminally underrated. He may not have been the most technical wrestler, but he had a fantastic look and he was good. I liked Rob Terry.
I think he got better, didn't he? I think he. I liked his act with Robbie E. That was that was pretty good.
I think the problem being is Impact at the time was known for how many great workers they actually had. So then when you had somebody who, as you say, could work but not to a level, kind of gets, well, they get knocked down the ladder, don't they?
He had Doug as the worker. That's what he needed.
Yeah, he was perfect behind the British invasion. Excellent muscle for Aldous and Williams. Aldous and Williams. And Aldous and Wolf as well, because they were the British invasion for a short period as well.
Fleetingly,
yes. But there's some great names. But let's talk about Adrian Street, the impact he had on the business as a whole. You know, just an absolute idol to so many, to not even people in wrestling genres, to the pop, you know, to that punk and
glam.
That's the one I was looking for. Thank you very much. He glam idol, and even his music. I loved his that music he did, the video he did for his entrance.
Yeah. The photo of him outside the mine shaft is just still pure
iconic,
theatre.
isn't it?
Yeah. He was great. Really was. Right. So I mentioned just then Doug Williams. And Mr. Williams is coming over to be an ambassador in Wales, isn't he?
He is, yes. We have him booked on our next show to give him a shot at our villainous champion, Martin Grant, for the Slammasters Wrestling Championship. Martin Grant is a very underrated talent in the Welsh scene and the UK scene. Not that many people will know, but he came up alongside the likes of Nick Aldis and a lot of the guys who are now in NXT UK. He had some unfortunate breaks along the way, but he is absolutely incredible. He's such a good grappler and a character wrestler as well. And the crowds rightfully hate him. So it's about time that he stops cheating to keep hold of that belt. And what a better person to do it or to have a shot at doing it than the ambassador of British wrestling, Doug Williams.
I always like a dirty heel.
Doug has been known to work to the letter of the rules. So I'm sure he'll be able to see anything coming that Martin Grant wants to throw at him.
I hope so.
It should be a great match.
Absolute legend of the sport, one of the best to ever lace his boots. You've also got the Women's Championship on the line. Mariah May is back. She will be defending her title against the aforementioned Echo Reed and
LA Taylor.
Tough opponents.
Yeah, so on our last show in Pontyclean, so last October, she became the inaugural champion. She won a fatal four-way match, which also featured Echo Reed, LA Taylor, and Amina Lily. So we wanted to bring Echo and LA Taylor back. So what better way than to give them both another shot because Mariah didn't win it under the best of circumstances. Some will say she stole a victory. I know Mariah wouldn't agree with that one. So it gives LA and Echo another shot at it.
And Mariah a chance to prove that she won it legitimately.
Exactly.
Great booking.
And then one of the 3 best entrances in British wrestling right now, man like Doris is going to drop a musical concert before wrestling Sid Oakley, who is very underrated, very young talent coming up on the scene right now.
Yeah, they're both really good. So we had Doris debut with us on our first show post-lockdown last September. He was someone that I was in conversation with pre-lockdown as well. We a lot of our audience is young. It's a family show. The in-ring product certainly isn't pantomime or anything like that, but we know a lot of our crowd is young members because our shows are typically on a Sunday afternoon at 4:00. So you're obviously going to get the kids in at that time. The audience just goes wild as soon as Doris not even enters the area. As soon as he starts his rap before he even goes through the curtain, like the crowd just responds to him. He's awesome. Again, another person that we have on shows who's no doubt going to go on to much bigger and better things. And yeah, really pleased that we can have him while we can as well. So he's undefeated with us. He's won his 3 matches so far, so he's got to be in contention for a title shot sooner rather than later. And likewise, Sid Oakley is someone, as you say, is underrated. He's been on all of our shows actually in different roles. So he started off as some tag team matches, but he's won 2 of his last 3 matches now. He's had a really revered match against Michael Oku in Creation in Cardiff as well, and that seems to have put him a little bit more on the map as well because he is a talent. He's really good, very, very underrated. So I'm really looking forward to seeing these 2 clash because they was originally booked for last October, but Sid was a bit he wasn't quite 100%, so he moved into a different match, and so we thought we'd keep it for a little bit later.
Doris is my son's favourite wrestler. Absolutely loves him.
He's most people's favourite, to be fair.
I like Sid Oakley. He's quite unique in the wrestling world. He doesn't wrestle like everybody else. He has his own way of doing things, and I quite like that about him. Yeah,
it's part technical, part brawl, part Jack Daniels.
That's it. Okay, and that is May 8th. Where is that and what time is that?
Okay, so it's May the 8th in Pontyclun Rugby Club. Pontyclun is about 15 minutes outside of Cardiff. There is a train station literally opposite the rugby club, and I believe the train journey from Cardiff to Pontyclun is about 10 or 15 minutes. So it's quite accessible if you're not local. Doors are 3:30, start time's 4:00. It is a family-friendly show. Everyone's welcome. As you can tell by the names that we're mentioning, it's certainly not a pantomime show. It'll be good wrestling for everyone to enjoy. We'll be finished between about 6:30 and 7:00, so it doesn't finish late. And you can get tickets on our website, slammasterswrestling.com.
Ask how much tickets are.
Of course you can. So tickets are £5 for children, £10 for adults, or you can get a family ticket, so two adults, 2 children for £25.
Bargain. Can't go wrong with that. Proper good afternoon of British wrestling at that price. Brilliant.
Super. Right, now, before we let you go, let's get to know you, John. When and how did you get into wrestling?
Always been a fan for as long as I remember. I don't know how I got into it as such. I got an older brother and he started talking about it, but it was at a time where having Sky wasn't that popular. I was really, really young, and then I can remember we had SummerSlam 91 on VHS, which was recorded by a neighbor. And I think we had it for a little bit, and then we had to give it to someone else in the street, and someone else had it, and I think it did the loop a few times. But then we got Sky, and yeah, I've been into it pretty much since then, with a few gaps here and there.
Always WWE.
What's that? Sorry.
Go on, Andy. You go.
No, you go first.
Always WWE, or you mentioned TNA earlier?
Yeah, been into everything really. I really like WCW as well. I probably watched WCW in the early 90s because worldwide used to be on at silly AM in the morning. My dad used to put on the timer for us, so I watched that in between times where we didn't have Sky Sports. So yeah, I was really into that, and then used to watch WCW Nitro when it used to be on a Saturday late afternoon slot before I moved to the Friday one. So I was into that. I've been into everything. Loved TNA when that became on, when we could get it over here. Getting into Lucha Libre as well quite a bit now as well. When AAA's YouTube channel actually works. But yeah, and AEW, love AEW as well. Yeah, I've been into everything really. WWE is probably the one I'm watching the least of at the moment. But there's no doubt that when the tickets go on sale for the Principality show, that I'll be doing my utmost to get hold of them.
Favorite wrestler?
Favorite wrestler, I'm gonna go with Bret Hart.
Good choice. Okay, you mentioned it. Principality Stadium, WWE, UK premium live event. How massive is this for Welsh wrestling as a whole?
It'll be massive, not just wrestling really. I think it'll just be massive for the city. There's no doubt that all the hotels are going to be booked, the bars are going to be packed, and it's not just going to be one day either. It'll be crazy from Friday to probably Tuesday if SmackDown and Raw ends up getting taped in the city as well. Maybe they'll move that somewhere else. So, but I think it'll just be such a good time for wrestling fans and the locals as well. The local businesses. It'll be fantastic. It'll be something that you have to do your best to get tickets for, because you'll regret it. And if it goes really well, which I assume it will, then hopefully it won't be another 30 years plus before it comes back for a show of this type as well.
Who do you think will main event?
Roman Reigns against Drew. I think they'll add probably a needed British element to the main event, because it'll sell out regardless. But I think there'll be a little bit of a British twist on it.
Maybe Tyson Fury as a special guest referee or enforcer.
Yeah, I think they'll go and add something like that to it.
Which Welsh NXT UK star do you think should be on the show?
I would love to see, if he's back, Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster get a shot at some tag team gold. I think they would probably get the biggest reaction, apart from someone like a Roman Reigns would. In fairness, I think the crowd will no doubt have quite a big Welsh element to it. So they had a great reaction at the NXT UK show. Attended a couple of, seems like a lifetime ago now. It was probably about 3 years ago. Yeah, they had an incredible reaction. So yeah, it'd be really good to see them get a shot, maybe at the Usos.
I wonder if he's still signed with them actually.
Yeah, I think he's still injured, isn't he?
He was injured, but his
contract
ran out February.
Yeah, so he'll be on a rolling contract until any announcements made. I did see a hint where he put like reboot in Pro Progress. So could be a possible return to Progress, which means possibly at the, because I know they're going to be running a Cardiff show the Saturday following, which again, huge for wrestling as a whole. I mean, Progress are still one of the top 3 promotions in the UK, without a doubt. And so, yeah, Flash is going to make a return. If he doesn't make it on the WWE show, being awesome to have him on the Progress show, because, as you say, what a pop.
Eddie
Yeah,
Dennis
definitely.
has been attending a lot of the Progress shows as a fan. I can definitely see him doing the Progress Wales show.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah, because when Progress was over, shortly before lockdown, there was quite a homegrown element of the crowd. Because I was in attendance, and Danny Jones was on the show. They had Danny Luna was on the show as well. I think in most matches there was that Welsh side of it, and there's so much Welsh great talent that could easily slot into the show. So you could easily have say your Progress regular on one side of the ring and a Welsh talent who maybe not quite a regular on the other side, and they'll put on great matches.
Without doubt.
So all right. Is there anything else that you'd like to promote?
Well, the show really, yeah. Again, May the 8th. Slammasters Wrestling Cross the Line, Pontyclean Rugby Club, 4 p.m. start, featuring the likes of Doug Williams, Martin Grant, Elijah, Man Like Reese, Mariah May, Echo Reed, Ellie Taylor, Danny Duggan, and more. Great talent, local talent, as well as talent from the wider UK scene. Yeah, we're a great family orientated show. If you're local or maybe slightly further out, come down sometime. Give us a try.
And of course, they can check out all the past, some of the past matches on your YouTube channel, which is easily found under Slammasters Wrestling.
Yes.
As say, Mariah May versus Chantel Jordan is on there, as well as Joel Redmond versus Martin Grant. Both fantastic matches. And with that said, just remember, don't feed the trolls.